A chicken can feed itself, not with scraps, not with leftovers, with a living system so productive that generations of farmers never needed to buy feed at all. That system existed. It was documented, replicated, and refined across continents. And then, in less than 2 generations, it vanished from almost every backyard in the industrialized world. Not because it failed, because it was replaced by something that could be sold. The system was the yard, and what was growing there has been forgotten long enough. This is not about one miracle plant. It is about a guild, a living assembly of trees, shrubs, roots, insects, compost, and shade that old farming cultures built around their animals without ever needing a name for it. They just called it the yard. Feed came in layers, leaves and fruit above, minerals pulled from roots 2 meters deep, animal protein crawling through the compost, a nitrogen-fixing tree that regrew after every cut and asked for nothing in return. No annual replanting, no synthetic formula, no monthly delivery, just a yard that renewed itself because it was alive. And then it was gone, not because it failed, because a sack is easier to sell. Welcome to my channel. Every video unearths one more secret they forgot to bury deeper. In 1850, a British botanist named Philip Barker Webb documented something unusual on the slopes of Tenerife. Local farmers were cutting branches from a fast-growing tree and throwing them directly into their animal enclosures. The animals ate the leaves, the branches regrew, the farmers cut again. No stored feed, no grain sacks, no seasonal shortage. The tree was Chamaecytisus proliferus, known locally as Tagasaste, known elsewhere as tree lucerne, a legume native to the Canary Islands that fixes nitrogen from the air, survives on almost no water, and produces protein-rich foliage that regrows after every cut. The Guanche people, the original inhabitants of the Canary Islands, had used Tagasaste as animal fodder for generations before European contact. When the land turned dry and everything else stopped producing, this tree kept growing. By the late 1800s, the idea had traveled. Tagasaste was introduced into Australia as a fodder tree, especially valued on the poor sandy soils of Western Australia. Colonial-era agricultural reports described it as one of the most promising perennial fodder shrubs in the Southern Hemisphere. A plant that keeps standing through difficult seasons is more than feed, it is insurance. But the most important part of this system was almost invisible, and when science finally started measuring it, what it found changed the conversation entirely. The mechanism is not magic, it is a closed nutrient loop. Every element in the guild feeds the next. Tagasaste leaves are often reported around 20 to 24% crude protein on a dry matter basis, high enough to put this tree in the conversation with commercial protein feeds. Laying hens need 16 to 20% protein to build strong eggs and healthy feathers. Tagasaste can reach that crude protein range from roots already in the ground, not a bag of soybean meal, a living protein bank, just nitrogen fixed from the air and converted into standing fertility. Below the surface, comfrey pulls calcium at up to 5% of dry weight and potassium at up to 6% from subsoil layers no shallow-rooted plant can reach. The root does the mining. The leaf delivers the result. And then there is the secret weapon. Black soldier fly larvae contain approximately 40% protein on a dry matter basis, comparable to fish meal. They also supply methionine, the amino acid plants cannot deliver in sufficient quantity, essential for feather growth, egg production, and immune health. Every traditional farm compost pile was already producing them. The hens already knew what to do with them. The clearest proof shows up in the egg. A hen eating grain alone produces a yolk with an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of roughly 20:1, the inflammatory range doctors warn against. A hen eating Tagasaste, comfrey, and larvae brings that ratio close to 4:1. The egg is not just a product, it is a biological record of the system that produced it. So why did a system this efficient disappear from almost every backyard in the industrialized world? Here is the part that should make you furious. It did not disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because poultry keeping changed. Farms specialized, backyards shrank, labor became expensive, and complete feed turned a living system into a purchasable product. From there, an entire industry grew around the replacement. One product at a time, one generation at a time, until the living yard became invisible and the feed bag became the only logic anyone remembered. It started with convenience. In the early 20th century, commercial poultry feed arrived not as a replacement, but as a supplement, a shortcut for busy seasons. Farmers who adopted it did not abandon their guilds overnight. They reduced them, slowly. A tree removed here, a compost pile neglected there, a mineral plant pulled out to make room for something else. And the economics made sense, for the industry. You cannot patent tagasasti. You cannot sell a subscription to a comfrey plant. You cannot charge a monthly fee for a compost pile that generates its own larvae. A living yard produces feed inputs that belong to no one and can be sold to no one. But there is enormous recurring revenue in a bag of feed repurchased every month, for every bird, for the entire life of the flock. The feed bag is not just a product, it is a business model, and the living yard was its only real competition. When consumers wanted golden yolks, the industry did not rebuild the pasture, it recreated the color. Marigold extract and red pepper pigments now appear in commercial feed rations worldwide, engineered to push a pale yolk deep orange while the hen never sees a blade of grass. The color returned, the landscape did not. The guild system did not disappear because it failed. It disappeared because it could not be owned. Plant the tagasaste, not next year, this season. Seeds are available from specialist permaculture suppliers and online seed banks. In climates where it grows well, it establishes within 12 months and can be cut back hard without killing it. In its second year, it produces enough leaf mass to begin supplementing a small flock. It does not need fertilizer, it makes its own. Plant it on the worst soil in your yard, sandy, dry, depleted, and it will improve that soil while it feeds your birds. The most common mistake is cutting too early. Let tagasa stay established for a full growing season before the first harvest cut. Wait, then cut. Then watch it come back stronger. In colder climates, the exact plant may change. Alfalfa, clover, mulberry leaf, nettle. The principle does not change. Permanent feed growing in place. Add comfrey near the compost. Cut the leaves before they flower, wilt them for 24 hours, and throw them into the run. The hens will pick through it. What they leave behind feeds the compost. In a feed bag system, leftovers are waste. In a living yard system, leftovers are unfinished feed. Set up a black soldier fly bin. Kitchen scraps, moisture, warmth. The larvae appear where conditions are right. A hen that has spent her life eating pellets will stop and stare the first time she sees them move. Then instinct takes over. Add a mulberry if your climate allows it. Shade in summer, fallen fruit for energy, leaves for seasonal forage. This is not a system that replaces the feed bag overnight. It is a system that makes the feed bag smaller every season, until the yard is doing most of the work itself. You do not need permission to rebuild what your great-grandparents already knew. Tagasaste is still growing on the slopes of Tenerife. Comfrey is still pulling minerals from the soil. Black soldier fly larvae are still turning organic waste into protein wherever conditions are right. The system never stopped working. It just stopped being taught. And the question is not whether the old yard can feed chickens. The question is whether you are willing to build it again.